I am thrilled today to talk with pairs figure skaters Chris and Alexa Knierim, who are currently preparing and working hard as they are headed to the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang here in a few weeks. And I'm excited for this interview for several reasons. First of all, figure skating is my favorite Olympic event. I have been obsessed with it my entire life. It is still what I want to be when I grow up. Secondly, we have the same last name, and it's not a common last name. And I've never met anyone that I'm not related to with it. So Chris, really quick, do you have any relatives in Iowa that you know about? Any ancestors? We might be related and not know it here.
That's true, and I don't know. I'll have to ask my I have no idea. It's such a unique last name. We have to be
It is, right. That's what I was thinking. And I actually do have family in Colorado Springs, and I saw that's where you all train. So there's also Knierims there, FYI.
Oh,
wow.
Good to know.
Well, thank you both for carving out some time to talk with us today. We know you're super busy. Like I said, you guys are going to the Olympics in just a few short weeks. Your emotions are what?
Well, first of all, it has not gotten old yet when you introduce us as Olympians and talk about Pyeongchang, because it still feels like a dream. It has not sunk in yet. So when we take calls like this and they introduce us, like, I get all excited and the goosebumps and everything. But right now we are training really hard, and when we're in the rink, it feels like we're training for any other event. Maybe there's a little bit more excitement, but, it's back to the grind, hard work, and we're so excited to leave in just a few weeks.
Okay, I want to back up for a second. Part of the reason I was obsessed with the sport is I love Tara Lipinski. I wanted to be here when I was little. She's a few years older than me, I guess. Alexa, you began skating at age 7. Chris, you didn't start until you were 12. Were either of you inspired to start skating because of someone in the Olympics or otherwise, or did a certain performance inspire you? What got you into the sport to begin with?
So for me, my mom skated when she was younger in San Diego, and then she coached. So, I was taken to the rink all the time when I was younger, and then eventually I, started actually skating. But, it was kind of just something that I was around all the time in my childhood and started to do a little late for the normal, age. But, my whole family has skated at one point or another. I was just the only one that kept going.
Yeah, and I wasn't really inspired by any top skaters to begin skating, but after I had started skating for a couple of years and I really fell in love with the sport, I started to take interest in watching it on TV. So I did have a lot of idols, but fun fact, I did stand in line at the mall for a few hours to have Tara Lipinski sign an ice skate for me.
I met her too at one point, so yeah.
Yeah, and actually her and I have the same birthday, and I always felt like that was kind of special. Like maybe I would be an Olympian because my birthday is the same as hers.
That's awesome. Yes, I'm going to go with that. So like I said, you guys began training at a young age. What point do you decide that, hey, I'm pretty good at this, I should do it as a full-time job, as a career? Because you're so young when you have to make that decision. Tell us what goes into that.
Well, I was lucky enough to have parents that wanted me to keep my passion alive. Like, they didn't force me to go to practice every day. They didn't remind me what time I had practice. I was literally waking my dad up at 5:45 to drive me to the rink for practice, and he wouldn't even, be up for, more than 2 minutes before he got in the car. And sometimes he would just throw on, slippers or even go barefoot because the rink was so close. And literally, as soon as he would drop me off the rink, he'd go back home and go back to bed and get ready. And so I always had this driving force to be the best I could be. I'm very competitive. And I think my mom always knew that I had some kind of star potential. She just, has been my number one supporter and has done everything to kind of keep my faith alive when things got hard with skating. So it was pretty easy for me to make that choice that I wanted it to be a lifelong dream of mine, because my parents never questioned it or gave me a hard time. School was a priority, but, they loved the sport as much as I did.
Great. Chris, what about for you?
For me, when I started skating, you obviously see the Olympics as the top athletes go to the Olympics and you want to be there. But I think that I realized that it was something I could actually achieve after I started skating pairs, and I've been doing pairs for about 13 years now. And I mean, really not 100% something that I could actually see myself going to until I started skating with Alexa. I know. Not just because we were dating, but because I really saw us being or growing into a strong team together. But, you know, it's been a dream since I started skating. It's just been a reality since I started skating with Alexa.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, okay, like I feel the same way. I've always wanted to be an Olympian, and I always believed I could be, but things started to feel really real and attainable when I started with Chris.
Okay, well, that segues into my next question. You guys joined forces in 2012, coming from different partners. How long do you skate together before you realize that, hey, this could work? Because you are so in sync, you are so together, and I've watched your performances, and I can't imagine that you have that chemistry with everybody. So when do you make that decision to be official pairs?
Well, I guess when we had our tryout, our coach told Chris from the start that she knew it was going to work out because she has so much experience with pair teams that she could see from the beginning that something was going to click between us. So we just trusted her gut when she said that it would be a good idea for us to team up. I wasn't as experienced as Chris in pair skating, so I didn't really know one way or the other. But, you know, we did start dating shortly after teaming up, which helped the connection and chemistry on the ice. So it all fell together very, very fast.
Okay, and we should note that you two are the only U.S. pairs team that will be represented at the Olympics. Obviously, it's the Olympics, so of course there's pressure. But does not having to compete against other Americans make it more or less nerve-wracking?
I don't think it changes. We've competed against all the U.S. teams, and I don't think it would change if there was, you know, another one or two other U.S. teams going with us to the Olympics.
I do think that we're the only married couple from the U.S. in all of the sports.
Like from the U.S. ever that's been married, or at this Olympics?
No, I think this one. I mean, I'm not even sure ever, but I'm pretty sure at this Olympics we're the only dynamic duo, which is pretty special.
No, that's awesome because that was another question I had for you guys. The last Olympic married pairs couple that I can think of were Russian pairs Ekaterina Gordieva and Sergei Grinkov, who, by the way, won gold.
Oh, we love them.
I love them and their story. Yeah, so that's who you all remind me of. Does marriage, do you think, give you guys an advantage because you are together all the time? Or from an audience perspective, like, I love your story. It makes me want to watch even more.
Ooh, thank you.
Thank you, yeah. It does give us an advantage, but it's hard to say if it would give someone else an advantage. You know, there are some other teams out there that are dating, but we're obviously the only married couple. And for us, it's an advantage in our just day-to-day training. You know, we're around each other 100% of the day, all the time. So we know what each other needs and what works if someone's having, let's say, a bad day. So we know each other so well, and it makes training go by a little easier. And, you know, I think we train better now than we did when we first got together. And that's, you know, probably because we've been down the whole road of dating and, you know, living together, and we've learned what works and what doesn't. So bottom line, it really works for us. It might not work for everybody, but we're very happy with the situation.
Well, keeping on the pairs topic, the U.S. has been in a pairs medal drought for 30 years now. What would medaling at the Olympics mean to you all with that in mind?
Well, I think if we medaled at the Olympics in the individual event, it would, you know, fulfill our dreams and goals. But I know that on the day-to-day, our goal is to be the best we can be, and getting a medal would be amazing. But the drought is not something that we think about. You know, it's kind of sad. So I know going into the games, we're definitely not going to be focused on getting one to kind of end this drought, but it will be so cool if we do, and we get to be the names that kind of ended that long time without a medal. But, you know, the pairs field is so incredibly talented and difficult in the other countries, and it's it's truly amazing. And yes, it's unfortunate that we haven't gotten a medal in a long time, but I think it just shows how far in advance this sport of pair skating has gone.
Okay, we got to talk about your routines. Every time you do a throw or a lift, I hold my breath, my body tenses, I'm like gasping. Because of the height you guys get, it is incredible and terrifying. So let's talk about the quadruple twist. You guys are one of the only pairs in the world that are capable of doing this. And you did it flawlessly at the U.S. Championships a few weeks ago. I have so many questions about this. First of all, will the program be the same? Are we going to see it at the Olympics?
Yes, same exact program.
Okay, good, because
yes,
I love
we are excited to be the first American team to do a quad twist at the Olympics. We're looking forward to adding that to our repertoire.
Literally, it gives me a mini heart attack every time I watch it. Okay, second, what kind of mental training goes into that? Like, what does it take to just go out and try that for the first time? Do you try it off the ice first? Walk us through that process, because you guys have a lot of lifts in this routine.
Well, for the quad twist that we started a few seasons ago before my surgeries, I cried before the first one because I was terrified by it. Yeah, I was just so scared just to try something new and not know how it was going to turn out. But it came along pretty quickly for us. And when we brought back the quad twist this season, I was also scared again to try it. But it's not that bad, and, you know, it's kind of a rush, and I know it gets the crowd really excited. As soon as Chris catches me, you can just feel the audience, like, gasp and clap, and it's kind of exciting, so I enjoy that part of it.
I noticed that even in the video. They're very loud crowd with you guys.
Yeah, and at Nationals, they were expecting it. They knew it was the first element, so there was a lot of pressure and hype behind it. But as far as training it, we always do, like, our twist off the ice in our gym shoes, but we only do triple twist 3 turns on the ground. And then when we get on the ice, we do quad only on the ice because the speed going into it and the momentum helps get the extra height so I can rotate 4 times. Where on the ground, it's a little bit more stuck just because you are at a standstill. So when we're off the ice, we just work on perfecting the triple. So when we do quad on the ice, it's where it needs to be.
That takes a lot of guts, is all I have to say. You guys make it look effortless, and it's beautiful. So I hope it all goes well at the Olympics for you. Part of what makes a routine great is not only just, you know, the jumps and the spins, but I love the music choice that you came up with this, the Unchained melody from Ghost musical. What goes into picking the music? Do you guys get a say? Is it your coaches, choreographers? Because I think it definitely makes or breaks a program.
Well, our first dance on our wedding day was to Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers. And we were kind of hoping to maybe use that version originally, the Righteous Brothers, for our free program in honor of getting married. But we found that we liked the musicality of the Ghost version better and the softness and tenderness of it. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it. And I think it really tells our story. So it's easy for us to relate to. And going to the Olympics and achieving our lifelong dream of that, we wanted to have a program that was so genuine and real to us. And that long program is one of our favorites. And it's very special.
Okay, and keeping on talking about the program, I know that recently skating has kind of focused more on the athletic side of things versus the artistry. How has that gone into the way that you guys choreograph or how you put together your programs?
Yeah, so Paris has really jumped forward in the technical side of things. You know, more teams are trying quad throws. Just a handful of teams are doing quad twists, but you never used to see that. So technically, Pairs is pushing forward, but we really try and focus day to day on the component side of our skating, and making sure when we're at a competition skating that, you know, we try and make the audience feel something when they watch us and not just see us going from element to element and checking elements off as we skate. So I think that's one thing that we really have focused on all season and throughout our whole career, but I think more now than ever is to try and have the audience feel something when they watch us, and I think that makes us special because it's not something that you get from every pair team you watch.
I do want to say really quick, while I love Tara Lipinski, my favorite Olympic performance of all time was Sasha Cohen at the Torino Olympics, just because her music, Romeo and Juliet, the things she did with her body out on the ice, it made me cry. Like, it is beautiful. And I know she comes from a ballet background. And I will say, I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you guys. You guys have that wow factor. The grace with you skate, what you do on the ice, to the music, all of it, just it makes it beautiful. And it gave me chills when I watched you all. So you have my approval.
Okay, so Sasha Cohen, I think back to the short program, the one with like the turquoise colored blue dress, and I forget what the music she skated to was, but that same year with Romeo and Juliet, yes, her short program is like the one that I freak out about when I watch it.
Some days I'll just watch it over and over again on YouTube for no reason at all.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Sasha was one of my idols growing up when I was in singles, because I didn't turn to pair skating until I was 19. So I didn't really watch pair skating too much. It was more of singles. And thank you for complimenting our artistry, because I know in the past I've been criticized about, turnout and point and posture, and we've done a lot of hard work in the mirror to make us look polished and unison and matching. We worked really hard on it, so thank you for pointing it out.
Of course, your hard work is definitely paying off. It 100% shows. All right, back to Olympics. What is the one thing that each of you are looking forward to most at the Olympics?
Other than being able to go to our first Olympics together, aside from that, I think, I know that one thing I want to do is go up into the mountains and watch some of the snowboarding and ski events, because I've never seen any of that live. So it's going to be exciting to watch some events live, because I've seen a lot on TV, but, I really would enjoy watching some of the events live.
And I'm most excited for the opening ceremonies and getting all the cool swag and gear that all the athletes get. I'm really looking forward to that moment.
Chris, you kind of stole my next question. I was going to ask if there's anyone in particular you're excited to watch skate, or in another sport from Team USA or from another country.
I'd love to watch Shaun White do some of that snowboarding.
No kidding.
But I think, just being able to watch some sports live, because I know that figure skating, when you watch it live, it's so different than watching it on TV. So I know that when I'm, there watching some of the other sports, it's going to be a lot different than, just sitting down and watching it on television.
Right. Okay, and one last question before we go today. We're going to do a little role playing for a second. Okay, so it's the moment when you guys are on center ice, right before your music comes on. You're skating in front of the world, no pressure at all. What goes through your head? What do you tell yourself in that moment?
Well, for me, I keep it the same at every competition, and it usually happens like this. They call our name out, and Chris and I present ourselves, and then we give each other a little hug, and then Chris will say, "I love you," and he kisses me on the top of my head. And then we separate, and I give a little shout-out to God quietly that I thank him for this opportunity. And then when the music starts, I just try to listen to the music and take myself back to home ice and just keep it in the moment and be very present. So I try not to do a ton of thinking beforehand. What about you?
For me, after our names are, called and, I say I love you to Alexa, I just try and focus on getting into the program as soon as it starts, because it can be easy to kind of get lost in the moment, whether you're at a World Championships and now, going to the Olympics, such a big event. It's easy to kind of let your mind wander. So just making sure when the music comes on that I'm focused on her and trying to, look at her right into her eyes and get in my legs right from the beginning, so that we have a comfortable, normal start right as the music starts.
Well, you guys are just the cutest. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you both today. I, for one, will be rooting you all the way from here. After all, we are family. We're pretty sure.
That's right.
We need to check on that, but I'm just going to go with that. It'll help my street cred. I can't wait to watch you all skate, and hopefully we will see you guys up on the podium in a few short weeks. But congratulations on making it to the Olympics to begin with. It's so incredible, and we'll be rooting for you guys.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We had a great time chatting with you.
Thanks, guys.